To our session here today. We're going to have the YouTube group joining us. There we go. I'll join in. Great to see everybody here. And let's see. Trying to get logged into that YouTube site. Welcome to all of our users across the platforms. DTItrader.com/Telegram is where to keep up with information. For those of you looking for our live presentations, go to DTItrader.com/YouTube to join in. Certainly look forward to having everybody there. And we are currently live now on YouTube. Let me go in here. You can join Tom Busby's free YouTube by going to DTItrader.com. Best way to support what we do at DTI, subscribe. Click that bell to subscribe, get the notifications, click like, and join us there in the YouTube chat. See the Wendy's there, and we got a few other people who are going to be coming in. Thanks, guys, for all your support on that front. We really love it when we get to talk to you as the sessions go on. And let's take a look here. We are going to be talking about markets today, and when we do, we have to make sure you guys understand this. There is a very high degree of risk involved in trading. You and you alone will be responsible for every decision you make and the ones you don't. So please consider carefully what you're doing with these markets. And let's see. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. And we'll get those slides posted up to everybody in just a minute. Before we do, though, I want to take you through our news. And we obviously have Iran. We saw the early news driving oil prices higher. Apparently, deals are being worked out and things are happening on that front. So, crude, which opened the May contract 95.27 last night, actually is trading up to 98.67. The overnight high was 97.95. And I'm looking at crude prices right now around 97.74 on that futures contract. So we'll see how that plays out. Now, for this week, we already had the core PPI come up to 3.9%, and that's a bit eye-popping. Certainly level of concern, and you saw the market's reaction to it. We've been dropping down most of the morning, and that drop sort of accelerated after the PPI news, which was at 8:30 Eastern this morning. Now later today, we've got the FOMC and 99 point, or really 99% probability of no change. That's not the story. The current rate, 3.5 to 3.75, not really the story. The story is the projection materials and how we're going to be looking at that. And we'll get into why these particular projection materials in March tend to be important. We'll get into that a little bit later as we go through this presentation. Now, later this week, we have the expiration of the March equity futures contracts that will be on Friday morning. So we continue this rollover process into expiration. And from a trading standpoint, the main thing that you're focused on there is you do have a little bit of a shift. Most of the shift has already occurred, but a little bit of a shift in where the focus of the market is. So we're going through that process this week. We will complete that process Friday morning. Key levels in the market, 69.11 quarter was the FTD high. Month open at 68.20. The FTD low was 68 or 67.18.75. And by the way, today's low, 67.19. For those of you wondering why we keep putting those numbers on this page, well, just go and look at today's low to figure it out. Our current low of the month, 65.84.50. At this point, Tom, I want to go ahead and invite you in and your opinion, some insights you might have on today's market.
Yeah, I told a few people that I watched this market about as close as I could watch a market. And that was number one, it was riding high. In fact, Maria on her show called it a rock and roll day. And at that time, the S&P was at 68.05, 910, holding firm. and then RBX came along, and I posted that in the TNT room. Once it came along, it was clear that the market was going to retreat. If you look at that chart, maybe we'll look at it if we go live, and it just came down, down, and down. In fact, after we opened this morning, it even went further. Like you said, Chuck, went down and tested the S&P 6715 range. But, to give everybody a little bit, if you look at where we opened the week at, we opened at 66.59, so we're still up on the E-mini, if you just put that in perspective. But it's been a treacherous market. It's hard to trade and have positions, and our status of market turmoil is still in force. We have the pocket puts. We also have those calls that we have. But the idea is that we're looking for, and the key always comes down during this time period, comes down to crude oil. Crude oil last night, you won't believe this, Chuck, I was short crude, had an OCO order in. The low last night on crude was 91.45. I got out when I woke up. I noticed I filled at 92 on that trade, and then you watch it climb, 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 like today, and you wonder, will it roll over again?
Yeah, definitely. With the crude market in particular, the occurrences that are happening in the Middle East, things can happen overnight. You've got to be aware of that. That's why, of course, Iran is number one on the list of news items. But yeah, it's definitely a market that can change rather
here's
quickly.
What my experience tells me. This will be the greatest short of the year. The problem with it is that you don't get all those points down without taking pain and suffering trying to get a position. And I'm nibbling at it, and nibbling is a word I haven't gone full bore on it, but I will at the right time. But I'm looking, as I showed people yesterday, for crude to fall to about $80 a barrel, the first drop. And if that happens, that's going to bring about a big rally, okay? And I think that's interesting. Am I already short? I have some USO puts on a spread. Nothing big, small. And I have, but I'm darting into the futures market quite a bit on the setups. But it's pretty interesting to watch when you're watching that futures market. The thing I like about the futures market, you get in and out 24 hours a day. Where with USO, you got to hang in that sucker all around the clock. Got a beautiful market last night. If it stayed down, everybody would be booking a bunch of profits. They had USO shorts. Now you got to wait again. Hurry up and wait, right? That's my opinion. But anyway, I think that you have to. This is so important. You have to have yourself protected. You have to make targeted plays, and there's not somebody posted in there. It's frustrating to see their positions deteriorate. Well, with options, they're going to deteriorate in a market like this. Okay. I just think that's pretty. It's pretty interesting. As far as the war ending, I don't think it's going to be that long. The reason I say that, every day, like they just reported, they got decapitated 3 more of their leaders. Every day, I think we get one step closer. That's my opinion.
All right. And Tom, I know you have a special opportunity you want to tell us about today. So let's take a look at that. What have we got going on here?
Yeah. I wrote the book, Winning the Day Trading Game. And I wanted people that can day trade. I know a lot of people can't day trade due to financial considerations, but I'm thinking about hosting a day trading uh, webinar for you and show you some techniques that you need. And I think that might be something that people might be interested in if you're a day trader. But you got to at least, I think, have 50,000 in an account to day trade. And I'll show you some things you could be doing during this time period when things things are there. But you know, when you can't day trade, it sort of hurts you. And I wish they'd get rid of that stupid rule. Okay. And when they do, for those with smaller amounts of money, can look at this webinar free of charge. That's what we'll do. But place your name, email, and phone number if this interests you. If we got enough people, I'll do it. Just put your name in there, and Jonathan, will you capture those names for me?
Yes, I will. Yeah, please post your name, email, and phone number if you can, and all one post. Be real helpful if you do that.
Yeah, put your name and email, and we'll put a list together. If there's enough people that's interested, then I'll do it. And then like I said, if they get rid of that rule, what we'll do is keep this webinar for you, where you'll be ready to use it too.
All right. Well, that sounds like a great opportunity.
Well, I did this for years. I thought, I'm sitting here with all this knowledge. I don't want to create a program to do that, but I think people could take it and
Yeah, having sat through some of those sessions, Tom, where there is live trading in a small room, I remember the intensity of those moments, and yeah, it is a lot of fun for those of you who have not been in that situation when you got the whole room moving and the profits are coming in. Of course, past performance not indicative of future results, but
let me just stop you, Chuck. See Morris there? He's been day trading with me for 17 years. He'll like the review, but I think that this is something that I thought I could give to those people that qualify for it and do it. So
yeah, definitely. I'm going back to who is it, Bill, who did the famous hands up salute.
right.
Right. That type of fun environment is what you'd be looking forward to with this special opportunity. So by all means, put your name, email, and phone number in if you want to be a part of it. Looks like we got a pretty big crowd, Tom. You're going to have to book a bigger room.
Yeah, I think that it's something that the day traders have always been a crowd. I remember back years ago, the day traders never got any respect, I think. And back in the day, you remember that, Chuck, where don't tell people you're a day trader, you know, it's like a bad word, you know, but shoot, man, you got to learn to day trade to be able to swing trade and do other things. And, you know, depending on how this goes, we might do a swing trader one.
Yeah, I definitely recall that, and I think that's the reason that there are conditions. Have at least $50,000 in your account. Yeah, that it was those on the margin that they gave day traders a bad name. You keep up, understand risk and control it, and everybody has fun. So let's see. Should we continue on here? And guys, feel free to continue putting your name, email, and phone number in the chat. Love seeing everybody involved. We've got about 200 people in the room right now. I'm counting around 20, 30 that have already responded, maybe more than that. That chat's flying by. So definitely looking forward to.
But you can't beat the price on this one.
No, you can't. You can't. All right. So let's take a look here. Go ahead and begin our normal presentation, but that offer is still out there. Monday through Friday in the month of March, 11 a.m. Eastern. Here we are with Train and Trade. And again, glad everybody's coming in today. Reminder that all trades in Train and Trade are tracked through T-Buzz Talk and Trade, which you can join at dtitrader.com/ TNT. Or if you're on the slides, just click that link on the slide and come and join us. Now, we have the new options education resource, which, by the way, might be an effective thing to read up on if you're planning on joining that opportunity. DTItrader.com/optionsedu. Even if you aren't taking advantage of that opportunity, it's a nice way to figure out how to get there. More resources. Well, the Winning the Day Trading book, you saw the cover a few slides back. You can click that link here, listen to the first couple of chapters on audio. Certainly encourage you to do that. White paper booklets are available. Jonathan did a great job of putting these together. Specific address to any questions you might have. So if you have a specific topic you want to look at, check the white paper booklets. We probably covered it already. And if not, let us know. We'll make some more to add to the library. Tom's YouTube page, and looking in at that YouTube page right now, I see the chatting going on. And let's see. And just to be clear, that YouTube chat is public. So if you're putting out the information, make sure you put it either in the Zoom room or you can send Jonathan an email, row@dtitrader.com. I just saw that message there. Jonathan's keeping up on things and controlling that chat a little bit. So if you did post private information, it has been deleted. Just send the information via email or via the Zoom room. We've got important terms to know if you want to know about the markets. And Tom, FOMC, one of those terms, Federal Open Market Committee, big issue today. Tom's penalty tape for those of you who need to get back on that beaten path. And of course, as we mentioned the slide before, options EDU at DTI. And Tom's B&N interview back from 2008. Certainly worth a look at there. You'll notice Tom's hair was a little bit darker shade. Time does fly, doesn't it? So March FTD stocks, let's go ahead and take a look at these. And Jonathan, if at any point you want to jump in, feel free. But I'm going to go ahead and pull this up. We'll see that Jonathan updated this about 20 minutes before we came online, so 9:40 a.m. Eastern. And looking at the top of the list, VIX, current at 22.8. Tom, you make a big deal about that being above 20. It's still above 20. So that's the start of everything. And then we start to look back at what markets are outside of that FTD range, the FTD high, the FTD low. You can see the S&P high of 69.11, quarter low of 67.1875. 67.28. They haven't really changed much in the past half hour or so. They're inside that range at the lower end, but still inside. We've got no indication on that. We've got NASDAQ futures, same situation. Dow futures also inside that range. Crude prices, of course, have driven up a little bit this month, so that is sitting on a long right now. Pay attention to that FTD high, 77.98. There's a reason Tom talks about coming back down to 80. Got information like that straight from the beginning of the week. As we go down the list, USO.
And just give everybody a insight. When you have a market like crude doing this, there's a chance it's going to come back down to 80 about the last week or so of the month, because that's typically what happens on a stock, that a ticker that really exceeds normal, they'll pull back to that level. So that's something to keep in the back of your mind.
All right. And USO, kind of the same situation there.
Yep.
As we go down the list, Tom, it looks like everything is pulled back into pocket. Exceptions here, Google.
Look at MU.
Still up.
They got earnings today. I'm actually long MU. It's at 468, and I keep watching it because it's a volatile stock. I'm actually long the stock, and I got to tell you, you got to keep one eye on that sucker the way it moves. But I think that if it comes out of earnings positive, you're going to see a lot higher prices. But we Won't know that until this afternoon. Now, let me ask the question. Jonathan, we need to add Palantir to this list. I was looking through it. I did not see Palantir on here.
We'll add it. Absolutely.
Actually, hang on. Here it is, right
There
here.
it is right there after NNE. Huh? Okay.
Yeah, there it is.
It is on there. Okay. I was looking for it. I couldn't find it.
Yeah, it's a good bit below MU.
Where's that number on Palantir? 154.55. I put it in the TNT is going to take 156.11. Okay. I think I remember doing that.
Yeah, let me look back. I thought it was 155.55, but let me double check real quick.
Yeah, it is. I said
No, wait. We're both wrong. It was 156.55. I think it was 155.55 yesterday. You raised it up a little bit, looking for 156.55.
Yeah, and I'll just tell you something. I was hoping I was going to post something this morning in TNT that, hey, the VIX is below 20. Here we go. Well, RBX 7 to 730 killed that dream as the market came down. You know, it was pretty interesting for that to happen. So anyway, had everything set up.
Yeah.
As far as gold and silver goes, gold and silver is a what I would call in a back and fill position. If you look at gold and silver, if you go up to gold, let me look at it real quick and talk about it. GLD. Yeah, see that current 89.20 on GDX? That's a buy, but it's not a buy right now. Silver and gold, current 447. You're getting down to that February open where there's big support there, just to give you an idea. But look at GDX, it's already below that, but it's also testing the yearly open. That was a stock was at 106. Just to give you an idea. So everything in that area is pulling back, and it's tough. If you're going to keep those stocks, you got to definitely be selling covered calls against them. That's for sure.
Yeah, one thing I'd like to point out, perspective always matters. And we look at a lot of our futures contracts that are trading below the open of the year, GDX and GLD, with the pullbacks that they've had, still above the open of the year. GLD doing a little bit better than GDX, as you mentioned, Tom. So this is still a very positive market, but when people are looking to find profits because something's going wrong on the other side, I think you've got a little bit of profit taking in those markets that were extremely strong through the end of the fourth quarter and in January and in February. So pulling back a little bit when you have a little bit of turmoil in the market in general. I know everybody thinks of gold and silver as a safe haven, and they certainly are, but they were leading markets for the past 5 to 6 months, if not more.
Last 2.5 years. But the whole point is that movie with Robert Redford, Barbara Streisand, The Way We Were, it's not the way we were in those markets right now. You got to be careful. You got to protect yourself. But the sun will come out, I believe. I believe we're higher by the time we get to the end of the year. So that's the 3-day algo. The open market release. I think most people that followed Powell are saying, what is he going to do to help the market? Okay. I don't think if they were placing odds on him doing anything to help the market, maybe it'd be 5% of people would say maybe he would. I don't know. I know I wouldn't, but that's just my opinion. What was the reference bar chart? I wanted to show that. Yeah, this chart here, if you follow it through, it illustrates the importance of reference bars. Right now, actually, this is sort of a futures-oriented market. You can trade in between those reference bars when you get the movements. Now, that was a pretty good illustration. If you go to today's reference bar, there's an RBX. Everybody see the RBX I'm talking about? We're at 68.04, looking for higher prices, and the market broke. Down we went. RB3, we're negative. We're still going down. and pretty soon you're going to hit a point. They're going to say, well, the Fed meeting's in 2 hours, but it might not have that big of an effect. I think it's what's going to have a bigger effect. Keep your eye on that crude oil. That was the chart I posted this morning. Today is Fed Day. For years, I do live trading in Fed. Every now and then we'll pop in and do one of those. We're not doing it today. I think we have live trading for a select group of people at 1:30, and then we have the Liz meeting tonight at 3. So that's a good timing for Liz, I can tell you that. But anyway, that is what I would do is watch the QQQ. It's going to tell the story. It's been trading in a range all morning. At 7 o'clock this morning, it was at 607. It's currently 600 to give you an idea, but it has a lot of support right here because this is the weekly open, 600. Take it away, Chuck.
All right, Tom. So Federal Open Market Committee, FOMC, that's the main focus here, is scheduled to release the second FOMC statement of this year at 2 p.m. Eastern. And this will be our first look at the FOMC projection materials. Now, a couple things to be aware of. Tom mentioned Jay Powell. After this meeting, that, by the way, Tom, we're going to bring up that word, penultimate. This is Jay Powell's penultimate meeting. He's got one more left to head, and then he's done. A couple of people asked me the other night, what happens if Warsh has difficulty getting confirmed? That does not affect whether or not Jay Powell continues as the head of the FOMC. If there is an absence there, it would fall to the vice chair, which would be the president of the New York Bank. I'd have to look up his name, but in all likelihood, Kevin Warsh will be confirmed by that time. So Jay Powell leading this meeting and the one in April. Kevin Warsh likely to lead the meeting June 16th through 17th.
Chuck, I thought the rule said that he could stay in the position until somebody's appointed. Is that at the discretion of the president, or what is, because he'll hang in there if he's got that, if he'll stay in that position until the cow.
I'm going to have to look into that, to be honest with you. I think there might be a confusion because he will still be a member of the Federal Reserve Board, right? So you have that portion of it, but his term as chair ends in May. So I'd have to check out.
Check into that, Chuck, because I think it's an important question. Because
right now, I read about it the other day. He can still stay as a board member. He just won't be the chair.
Okay, thanks, Adam.
But Adam, does the vice chair take over? Is that the way it works?
I guess it would be whoever Trump appoints.
Yeah, but
it's likely to be Kevin Warsh. If it's not Kevin Warsh, then yeah, we've got something we're going to look at. Might not be an issue, but yeah, Adam, thanks for looking into that. Now, something to be of note.
The reason I bring that up, there's one senator out of North Carolina. If anybody's from North Carolina, you ought to call your office and raise hell, because one senator from North Carolina is throwing his weight around, and I guess in the banking committee, and they don't have enough votes in the banking committee to get him out of the committee. It seems to me they could just take him off the banking committee if you had a strong leader of the. Boy, that Senate's got some funny rules, doesn't it? Goodness gracious.
Right. Now, all of that is not going to be a factor, by the way, until we get to May. So we got plenty of time before that. And even if it does become a factor, we'll hope that it'll be resolved by June. But looking at some of the FOMC history here, and this is where I think things get very interesting. In 2025, Tom, the first release of projection materials, which was in March, this very same meeting a year ago, showed that there would likely be 2 cuts to rates before the end of the year. Turns out it was a very accurate projection, as what we had in 2025, the Fed cut rates in September and in October. Rates were left unchanged in December of 2025 and in the most recent meeting in January of 2026. So I'm really looking forward to what those projection materials show, because that recently has been an accurate projection of what to expect from the Fed for the rest of the year. Now, obviously, things can change between now and then. If things get a little bit more volatile, we have to be aware that the Federal Reserve is capable of changing their minds. But these projection materials coming out at 2 p.m. Eastern today are historically important documents, and we're probably going to get a pretty good read on that. So I'm not interested in the FOMC statement. I'm really not interested in the press conference, although some people are probably going to be watching it. But I have a lot of interest in those projection materials, and that's going to be the main focus here. Now, this chart that you're looking at shows FOMC pivots. These are where the E-mini S&P futures was trading at the time of the FOMC release from January 2025 to January 2026. And the big thing that I'm looking at there, Tom, is we're a lot closer, I think, to that 66-65 pivot, which, by the way, is just a little bit above the open of this week, than we are to that 7,003 pivot we had in January. So you've got sort of a reshaping of the market. Now, that's not unusual.
Will
If
you
you look
post, hey, Chuck, will you update this and post it in TNT? I'd like to look at it after the close.
after the close, yeah, we can do that.
Yeah.
I'll get you that update. So we'll put that update in there probably about 2:15 Eastern or so. So be on the lookout for that. We're going to be in the middle. Let's see. Actually, we're going to be done with live trading most likely at that point, unless you continue it forward. So in between live trading and Liz, we'll get that out into the TNT room, which, by the way, dtitrader.com/TNT. Okay, let's see. I'm looking at a couple of the statements there. So, track expectations. If you're looking at a short-term view of what to expect within the next meeting or two, maybe even three, the CME Group Fed Watch tool has been a great source of information, really give you an idea of what's happening. The one thing I would warn everybody about using the Fed Watch tool, if you go out and look at what December is, there is a lot of time between now and December. Remember, this is what it looks like now, but next week it could look different. So when you're looking at the CME Group Fed Watch tool, I'd say the most accurate time frames are the next meeting and the one after. So when we look at that, we're after today, we're really looking at what does June look like, try and get an accurate measure of that. You can see right now 99.9% probability for today. But Jonathan, if we can go ahead and click into April, look at that 29 April information, and you can see high probability of unchanged, which means that we're really not expecting anything even out to the April meeting. Now, if we click one more over and look at June, and this is where it starts to get a little bit iffy. Again, high probability of no change. And Jonathan, if you'll do me a favor, highlight that area in the top right where you have the predictions: ease, no change, and hike. That's really the number that you want to focus on as a trader. And when you get the ease going over 50%, that's where it's most likely that you could indeed see a change in rates. Now let's skip ahead and go to the furthest out level we can, which would be what, December? Well, December of 27, but let's do December of 26 here. As you can see, these probabilities are spread out across the plane here. So I've got several different possibilities, probabilities, if you will. But we've also got, look at some of those probabilities as very, very low. Now, when we're looking at probabilities, if you're in the 1% probability realm, What's the real interest in a 1% probability situation, Tom? I'm guessing most people aren't that interested in that. If I told you there was a trade out there where you had a 1% probability of success, how many of you are jumping out of your chairs to take advantage of that? Now we like something closer to what is it, 80%, Tom? 80% probability? Is that what we like to run?
Yeah, that's where we like to run.
Right. So when you're looking at even 50-50, it's not really telling you as much as you think it is. So as much as this is a nice little piece of information is there, the CME makes it available. Again, CME Fed Watch tool at cmegroup.com. We want to look short term on this because that's where the probabilities really matter. 1, 2 meetings out. Maybe in a case like today, you go out to the third meeting because, well, the first one will be done in just a few hours. So use the CME FedWatch tool for its purpose and be entertained by anything past 2 to 3 meetings. That would be my advice.
Let's give Chuck a hand. This is some information you don't get anywhere else. Chuck is an expert when it comes to putting this together for you, giving you I guess, the executive summary of the trader you need to watch, and he's telling you exactly where you go. You're learning that. I love having Chuck do this stuff. It refreshes it for me, and showing where the pulse is, so to speak.
Listen, I had the advantage of learning at the feet of the master. Which reminds me, there's a special opportunity, Tom, for people to come and do just that. I think we talked about that a little bit earlier. So if you're interested and you want to get to this level, maybe take advantage of that. What was that? Put your name, email, and phone number in the chat?
Yeah, we're going to do a little day trading webinar for people, and then we'll save it, record it, and then if they get rid of that rule, we'll share it with everybody else.
There you go. Always take advantage of the opportunity to learn from people that know a little bit more than you do.
At least they'll learn what they're not supposed to do. I can promise you that. Because I made every mistake in the book.
We certainly want to take advantage of that. So let's see. We did.
I want to
Jonathan
talk about Anchor, but before we do that, this is a great day to talk about that. But let's go look at a live market, and we'll come back.
All right, my roadmap is pulling up here, Tom. I've got the S&P futures on the left and crude futures on the right.
All right, so what we need to do, we've got a Fed meeting today. And we've got a market that was rocking and rolling, as Maria said this morning, about 7 o'clock, and then fell out of bed, came down and tested that key number, which was 67.15. Chuck, tell them where that number came from, 67.15.
Well, we have the low of the previous day, the 67.15, but we also have, Tom, the FTD low, which was 67.1875, and our low today, 67.19.
So we got support, you would say, in layman's terms, about 67.15. And so prior to a Fed meeting, and the market, typically goes a little quiet, okay? So what we're going to do, we're going to do that. Yeah, just put Pearl, put your email and phone and all that. And got a lot of interest in it, so I guess I'll be doing it. Anyway, so if we look at D-mini and you look at crude, y'all see a corresponding action? Yeah, about the time the crude broke out of its nightly range, 94 to 95, and put that bar in, you started getting a lot of heat in the market, and we came down. So using logic, if crude turned back down today, which is very possible because we're really in a range from 102 down to 91. If it did turn back down today, it'd be logical to think that S&P would turn back up, wouldn't it? I'm just using common sense. So I think that's something to keep in the back of your mind until we get past the Fed, get past Powell. That 3 o'clock, Liz, is a good time today. I like that. There was a reason I did that. Now I know why. 3 o'clock. All right, the other thing I want to look at is MU. This is a fascinating ride, MU is. Put MU in there. Draw a line at 463. 463. How many people have heard me say at 8 o'clock at night, you ought to write down the price, the opening price on tickers you're interested in? How many people heard me say that? Eight o'clock in the evening. That's when you start your new day for stocks, okay? But last night, you don't have that bar on here, do you, John? 8 o'clock bar from last night?
No, I do not. I have to restart my roadmap in the morning, so that's missing.
I think it's important enough. Go to Thinkorswim. You got it there in the 30 minutes.
Right, give me just a second.
Yeah. I want to show you something, folks, because I did this trade last night. I was watching Jesse. He wasn't on, so it wasn't quite as good a show. Ended up turning over to a nice movie I watched. But at 8 o'clock last night, I said, if MU starts showing some buying here, I'm going to trade it. I'll show you what happened. All right, go to 8 o'clock. Everybody see that right there? What price? 463.64?
Yeah, the open was 463.92. Yep.
It went straight up and it topped out. What time is that red bar up there at the top? 476 area?
2:30 Eastern up at 477.
Yep. So it's worth when I tell you something like this. You ought to have a little book you keep, I think, if you really want to learn this stuff. You ought to write it down. Insight number 1. If you're trading stocks or options on stocks, pay attention to that 8 o'clock price. It was so clear. It was just fun to do it last night. And at the same time, you didn't have to watch it very close at night because it just trended all the way through Europe, all the way up. I think that makes a big point about my 8 o'clock at night. I've said it many times, but I want to put some dollars to the actual price. Is this helping you learning this kind of stuff? Nobody will give you this stuff. Is this helping you? Yeah. I'm always looking for an edge. And if it means recording the price at 8 o'clock at night, I'm recording that price. I will tell you, for NVIDIA, its price was at 182 for NVIDIA. I'll tell you. Here's one that gave you a heads up. GLD, its price last night was 459. So I wasn't surprised when GLD started falling along with gold and everything else. I went over to the futures market, shorted it. Anyway, you can use it a lot of different ways. I'm hoping I'm making sense. The QQQ open at 603. QQQ couldn't get higher than that today. Another insight. Folks, this is gold. This is gold learning this, huh? Anyway, I think it's pretty good. I'm working on something to have these key numbers brought into the TNT room for those that are not around at 8. I haven't got it yet, but I will get it. 8 o'clock at night, key time. Private programming that way everybody can have the key stocks and tickers. Y'all like that idea in TNT? Or you just look for it? Yeah. It's that important. It made the big time. Especially after me getting long MU and it went to 76, sold it and got back in this morning. Guess what price I got back in it this morning? 463. So I'm on my second trip on a day of earnings. Now I'll get out before it closes. But anyway, I just want to share that with you. I wanted to show that to you. John, let's go. Let's look at one other thing. Let's look at Treasury bonds and TLT. There's TLT, been coming down. Throw it daily up there where you see a big picture. Yep. Stays in a pretty stable range once it starts trending, which really helps you when you see that kind of stuff. Y'all agree? Okay. All right, let's go back. The Anchor program is based on the fact, I call it, who likes to buy things? Think of it this way. I think the Anchor program, and we'll show you some slides and maybe play a tape, but who likes to buy at wholesale, okay, sell at retail? Well, we got a strategy that's really out there away from trading stocks. It's pretty lucrative. Most people who are in the program from the get-go are on what I call the scholarship status. It's that good. It sets up and it averages one about every 5 days it has one of these trades. But I showed people how to take the information and use it multiple days. But here's the 5 reasons you ought to have access to it. Number 1, it doesn't matter what kind of market you got going. It works. It's the bond market, one of the most stable markets in the world to trade like this. You're only going to be in the thing less than 24 hours. You put it on today, get out tomorrow. Buy it at wholesale, sell it at retail. The trades are consistent, which means you can take this strategy and multiply it and scale it. That means you go up as big as you want to go after you get comfortable. It's liquid. It works. The losses in this program, they do occur 1 out of every 5 on average, is a certain number of 0 to 30, less than 40 cents. Just less than that, you take a loss, move on to the next one. They're easy to follow and easy if you're a new trader. What a way to learn how to trade options on something this stable. It won't scare you to death like most options. Small price options that we buy, 82 cents on average. That's pretty cool. It's small account friendly. No day trades here for all you people who want to grow your account and make the next day trading webinar I do. $458 average, 1 day income, 80% success. Pretty good. If I was trading today on the other side of this conversation, I'd have this in my pack of tools to trade. Very simple to follow, very simple to learn. The algorithm does the work for you, gives you the setup, gives you the option to buy, and tells you where to take profit and where to get out. What else you want? And it's consistent. Every day at 12:05, that update goes in that Telegram channel. Says, hello, here's the trade. That's the way it looks. Gives you the details right there. You take, and then when you do, guess what you do? Wait for another opportunity the next day. These real-time alerts through this private Anchor Trade channel is important. $445 for a year. That's why everybody's on scholarship. They underpriced it because they were only counting one trade over 5. I showed people how to get 3 a week. So I've increased the value through my master class. Be sure to watch that. That's all I got, Jonathan. You got anything to add about this?
You covered it all, Tom. It's a fantastic program, and it is perfect for beginner traders and experienced traders alike.
Yeah, and Robert, you could get approved for this. It's a basic strategy. But hey, Jonathan, those percentages and profits work pretty good, don't they?
They start to stack up over time, that's for sure. That's like Tom said, it's a nice little trade to include in your, bag of tricks, if you will, bag of trades.
Absolutely. Now remember, tomorrow we're going to go 2 hours. Put it on your schedule. On Thursday will be 2 hours in train and trade. So you're going to play a tape for people who want to re-listen to it, or what do you want to do?
Yeah, I've got a stream here from another day that we'll review, and then we'll see you at live trading 1:30.
Yeah, listen to this, folks. And if you got questions, be sure to ask those questions. Send it to Roe at DTI Trader. He'll get back to you. If you got any questions stopping you from taking this, this is a great setup, a great place